Heroes have always been at the heart of Clash of Clans, bringing some of the most powerful forces into battle. Over the years as the game evolved, heroes underwent significant changes as well. However, not all of these changes have been for the better. In today's video I'll dive into how the changes to heroes over the years have impacted Clash of Clans, whether for better or worse, and what these changes could mean for the game's future. Are these issues something Supercell intends to fix, or are we seeing a steady decline in hero effectiveness? Let's dive right into it. In Clash of Clans, heroes are essential units that can dramatically impact a player's success in battles. Their abilities often make the difference between a victory or a defeat. However, unlocking their true potential requires extensive upgrading, and the process is far from simple. Upgrading heroes is one of the most time-consuming and resource-intensive tasks in the game. Each upgrade requires a significant investment of Dark Elixir and time, during which the hero is unavailable for attacks or defense. This downtime can be a major setback, particularly during clan wars or other critical events where the presence of heroes can greatly influence the outcome. The time commitment to fully upgrade a hero is staggering. It takes well over a year of continuous upgrades to max out a single hero. In reality, due to the hefty Dark Elixir costs and the need to balance other upgrades, most players cannot keep their heroes upgrading constantly. For the average player, maxing out all heroes can take closer to 2 years or more. This means that for a significant portion of a player's time in the game, their heroes will be underleveled and not performing at their full potential. But what's even worse, it won't be available at all. This slow progression creates a frustrating experience. Players are forced to compete with weaker heroes for an extended period, and they miss out on the full benefits of their abilities for months or even years. As a result, many players have turned to using hero potions to temporarily boost their heroes. This workaround allows players to use the full strength of their heroes without waiting through lengthy upgrade times. However, this approach comes with its own set of problems. By relying on hero potions, players are effectively avoiding one of the core progression mechanics of Clash of Clans. This sidestep not only undermines the intended challenge and reward system of the game, but also slows down long-term progression. Instead of working toward permanently stronger heroes, players are stuck using temporary boosts, which ultimately delays their heroes' max level status even further. And you would think that over time Supercell would introduce more substantial cost and time reductions to help players progress through their hero levels faster. After all, as the game grows and new content is introduced, it makes sense to ease the grind for older content to keep things balanced for new and returning players. However, that hasn't quite been the case when it comes to the Barbarian King and Archer Queen. With the release of the Town Hall 17 update, players expected significant reductions in hero upgrade times, especially for the Archer Queen and Barbarian King, since they have the highest number of levels and are some of the oldest heroes in the game. But surprisingly, those heroes received little to no time reductions in that update. Instead, the only significant reductions were applied to the Grand Warden and Royal Champion, both of whom already had fewer levels to upgrade and a more forgiving upgrade path in comparison to the original two heroes. But what are Supercell's intentions with these seemingly random changes? What's their plan behind all this? To understand their strategy, we need to take a closer look at how heroes have evolved over time and how their progression system has changed, or in some cases remained frustratingly the same. When heroes were first introduced in early 2013, Clash of Clans had only two, the Barbarian King and the Archer Queen. Both heroes came with 30 levels, and while upgrading them didn't require endless waiting, their costs were incredibly steep. Dark Elixir was one of the most challenging resources to farm at the time, making hero progression feel like a significant accomplishment rather than a repetitive grind. The system was relatively balanced for the game's early days, and Supercell's revenue strategy was straightforward. Players would buy Dark Elixir to speed up their hero upgrades. This monetization approach worked well back then, as resource scarcity and the novelty of heroes created a sense of urgency to progress faster. Fast forward to Town Hall 11, Supercell introduced a new hero, the Grand Warden. His arrival was a game changer. For the first time, players had a hero that didn't require Dark Elixir to upgrade, but instead used regular elixir, which was far more accessible. On top of that, the Grand Warden came with fewer levels to upgrade, making him far easier to max out compared to the original heroes. Then came the Royal Champion with Town Hall 13. Unfortunately, she reverted back to using Dark Elixir for upgrades, but at least she came with a more reasonable number of levels. But then with the Town Hall 17 update, Supercell introduced another hero, the Minion Prince, who came with a staggering 90 levels to upgrade using Dark Elixir. The time required to max this hero is mind-blowing. It leaves players wondering why this sudden shift. Why help players for a time with more accessible heroes only to completely reverse the trend with newer additions? One big reason for this shift is the Introduction of hero pets and more importantly hero equipment. The focus of the game has gradually shifted away from simply leveling up heroes to unlocking and upgrading powerful equipment for them. In many cases hero equipment provides more immediate value than hero levels. However, it's important to remember that a max level hero still makes a huge difference in wars and competitive attacks. The stats of a level 100 hero compared to a level 1 hero are night and day. So why does Supercell continue to make hero leveling such a slow and punishing process? The answer lies in monetization. Supercell's strategy to push players towards spending money is most evident when looking at hero progression. Even though they experimented with some player-friendly events like the Unlimited Heroes event in July 2024, which allowed players to use their heroes even while they were upgrading, that event in particular was a huge hit with players, but it hasn't been repeated since. Instead, players are back to spending the majority of their time without access to their heroes due to upgrade downtimes. In contrast to how everything else in Clash of Clans, from buildings to troops, has become more accessible over the years, heroes remain one of the last major grind points in the game, and that grind can conveniently aligns with Supercell's monetization efforts. Take a look at the mid-mon events and the steep costs of hero equipment in the shop along with the high upgrade prices. This is why using hero potions instead of salvaging them for gems feels like a wasted opportunity, and why purchasing hero potions from the metal shop instead of ores is often a poor choice. Supercell's original monetization strategy was much simpler. The Gold Pass offered the best value for players when it came to heroes. It provided a Dark Elixir rune and 2 hero books each month. While helpful, this barely scratches the surface for new players facing over 100 hero levels. Still, it allows for 2 or even 3 times the progress at a relatively small cost, making it one of the few worthwhile investments. New or returning players now face a daunting grind when it comes to upgrading their heroes, with hundreds of expensive levels waiting ahead. Even with 5 heroes to rotate through, the upgrade cycle remains relentless. Sure, you can swap out one hero while another is upgrading, but that doesn't solve the core problem. You'll likely still head into clan wars and key attacks with incomplete hero rosters limited by the constant need to upgrade. The reality is that the total time to max out all heroes is staggering up to 60 months or 5 years of non-stop upgrades with a single builder. Even if you optimize with 2 builders and use magic items efficiently, it's still an overwhelming grind. The bigger issue is that if Supercell doesn't address this, we're heading toward a future where most players simply won't bother upgrading their heroes. Instead, they'll stick with level 1 heroes and rely on hero potions to temporarily boost their power. The core purpose of the game, building, improving, and strategizing, could start to fade away as players choose quick fixes over long-term progression. If Supercell wants to preserve the integrity of the game, they need to rethink hero upgrades before it's too late. After all, heroes are a key part of the game. Don't leave them sleeping behind. Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more Clash of Clans insights, and hit the bell so you don't miss future breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.